So Nothing is a technology company. They make phones, earbuds, watches and clothes. They have 2 clothing lines and they even have some clothes that you can only buy in one location in the entire world. And most of the clothes are actually pretty basic. So today I'll tell the entire history of Nothing Clothing and why they even decided to make clothes in the first place. To understand why Nothing makes clothes, we need to understand their design philosophy. They have 2 design styles in their 2 brands, Nothing and CMF. The Nothing aesthetic focuses on transparent tech with cool little details like switches, buttons and toggles. They use a color palette inspired by the Bauhaus design philosophy, which is black, grey, white, red, yellow and dark blue. Then we got the CMF aesthetic. Here Nothing focuses on simple, clean designs that don't have a lot of transparency in them. And this is because CMF products are aimed at a budget segment, where if they made a transparent product, it wouldn't be that great value. Here they have a couple of colors they use: orange, pastel green, dark blue, and of course the monotones like black, grey and a little bit of white. And Nothing's whole color is just dark blue, so you can see that reflected in a lot of their clothing and other products. So Nothing started off by making exclusive merch that you couldn't buy, and they only gave this out to employees, I'm pretty sure. This included a football jersey, a plastic cup, metal lunchbox, a poster and a beanie. And I think these were all pretty cool, but they were just merchandise to promote the brand. But then on December 10th, 2022, they opened their first store in London, the Nothing Soho store. And here they made their first clothing line available, which basically was just merch. There's the iconic sweatshirt that you see me wearing in a lot of my Nothing videos. They also made a cap, a t-shirt and a tote bag, and they were all in the iconic Nothing dark blue. It was clean, good quality and on brand with that Nothing dark blue color. Now this was just to promote the Nothing brand by selling merch. It was basically just merch. They even called it merch, they didn't call it a clothing line. But I think this is pretty nice. The Nothing sweatshirt is a little oversized and it's also pretty comfortable to wear. About half a year later they launched one more cap, but this was actually exclusive to people who bought the Nothing Phone 2, as they got this for free with the phone. But this one wasn't as cool as the one from the London store in my opinion, because it just had a smaller logo and it was in black instead of the iconic Nothing dark blue. So it was pretty boring, but it was yet again just merch to promote the brand and not really a true clothing line. But then, half a year after that Nothing cap, they introduced their first real clothing line, Apparel One. It was a very unique, transparent lab coat and cap, and it was inspired by the IBM factory floor uniform. It was also co-developed with Teenage Engineering to really make it have that quality. It was also used to promote the Nothing Phone 1 by putting it in one of the pockets to show the cool glyph lights on it. So I think that's one of the main reasons why they actually did this clothing line, because it was supposed to be a campaign for the Nothing Phone 1, and it was just cool that you could get this. It was fairly expensive at £130 for the lab coat, but only $35 for the cap. They justified this by claiming that they were quality-driven wardrobe staples that were designed to hold the test of time. But in my opinion though, I think it was too expensive for just a lab coat. A year later they launched their second clothing line, Apparel 2, which was kind of confusing actually, because it was just pretty basic clothes. Here's exactly what they released. An oversized hoodie for £80, a tracksuit jacket for £90, a matching pair of Nothing tracksuit pants for £80, and lastly a tracksuit featuring what I'm pretty sure is the same as the jacket and pants, but in black, and it's £130. So what's so special about these clothes? Not much really. But it's supposed to be basic because it implements the CMF design style by making it very simple and clean, but implementing some of the CMF colors like dark blue and this light blue, which reminds me of the pastel green of CMF. As I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to stand the test of time, and if it really is good quality that lasts, it might not actually be that bad a price for these clothes. But it still begs the question, why did Nothing even start to make clothes? I think it's because Nothing wants to show that they're a design-forward company, and an easy way of showing this is by creating clothing. This makes people more aware of them because they're being showcased in fashion magazines. So that was why Nothing made clothes. But if you made it this far in the video, I have a bonus for you. Because just a couple months ago, Nothing actually launched a new football jersey in collaboration with Over the Pitch, which I actually think looks pretty nice and very cool and very much fits the Nothing aesthetic. It looked very similar to Apparel One because it was kind of transparent, and it had this little detail where you can see information about the product inside of the pocket, and it was even in the classic N dot font. It only cost 109,000 South Korean yen, which is about $80 or 60 pounds, which is pretty cheap. But sadly it sold out and only available in South Korea. So that was the history of Nothing clothing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to see more Nothing content in the future and give it a like. Thanks for watching.